Have you ever felt confused in a relationship even though nothing big seems wrong? You keep asking yourself why you feel drained, anxious, or smaller than before. That quiet discomfort you can't name might be your first warning sign. Toxic relationships don't always start with shouting, insults, or obvious abuse. Most of the time, they begin silently, hidden inside daily routines, casual comments, and emotional patterns that slowly wear you down. One of the clearest signs of a toxic relationship is how you feel after everyday interactions. Imagine telling him about something that made you happy, maybe a small success at work, or a plan you're excited about. Instead of sharing your joy, he changes the subject, makes a joke that feels dismissive, or reminds you of something you did wrong before. Nothing dramatic is said, yet your excitement disappears. Over time, you stop sharing good news because it feels pointless or unsafe. Another common sign is constant self-doubt. In healthy relationships, disagreements may happen, but your reality is respected. In toxic dynamics, your feelings are regularly questioned. You say you're hurt, and he responds with phrases like, "You're too sensitive," or "You're imagining things." After hearing this enough times, you start to doubt your own emotions. You replay conversations in your head, wondering if you're overreacting, even when your discomfort is real. Control often hides behind concern. He might check where you are, who you're with, or why you didn't reply quickly enough. At first it sounds caring. Over time, it feels suffocating. You begin adjusting your behavior to avoid conflict. You reply faster, explain yourself more, and think twice before making simple plans. Without noticing, your freedom shrinks. A toxic relationship also changes how you see yourself. You may notice you're apologizing more than ever, even when you've done nothing wrong. You say sorry for being tired, for being busy, for needing space. Your needs slowly become something you feel guilty for having. This is not love. Love does not require you to disappear to keep peace. Perhaps the most overlooked sign is emotional exhaustion. You feel tired not because of work or life, but because of the relationship itself. Conversations feel heavy. Silence feels tense. You're always alert, always careful, always managing moods. A relationship should be a place of rest, not survival. Another powerful indicator of a toxic relationship is inconsistency. One day he is attentive, affectionate, and present. The next, he becomes distant, cold, or unavailable without explanation. This emotional unpredictability keeps you hooked. You find yourself focusing on the good days and waiting for them to return, while tolerating the bad ones. This cycle creates emotional dependence, not connection. You might also notice that your boundaries are repeatedly ignored. You clearly express what makes you uncomfortable, yet the behavior continues. When you bring it up again, you're met with excuses, jokes, or blame. Over time, you stop setting boundaries because they seem useless. This is how emotional safety erodes. Respect is not shown through words, but through consistent behavior. In daily life, toxicity often appears during conflict. Healthy conflict involves listening, accountability, and resolution. Toxic conflict feels like punishment. He may withdraw affection, ignore messages, or give you the silent treatment until you comply or apologize. This teaches you that expressing yourself leads to emotional loss. Slowly, you learn to stay quiet. Another subtle sign is isolation. Not because he directly forbids you from seeing others, but because being around him drains your energy. You cancel plans, talk less to friends, and avoid explaining what's happening because it feels complicated. Your world becomes smaller, centered around keeping the relationship stable. Pay attention to how you feel when you imagine your future. If the thought of staying brings anxiety, fear, or a sense of being trapped, your intuition is speaking. Toxic relationships don't always look bad from the outside, but inside, They feel heavy and confusing. If any of these patterns feel familiar, it doesn't mean you're weak or naive. It means you're human. Awareness is the first step toward reclaiming your emotional power. This kind of clarity is exactly why conversations like this exist on Pureher, to remind women that love should feel safe, not exhausting. A toxic relationship often keeps you in a state of emotional negotiation. You constantly weigh your words, reactions, and even facial expressions. You ask yourself, how can I say this without upsetting him? This is not communication. This is emotional self-monitoring. Over time, you lose touch with your natural reactions because you're always filtering them. You may also notice that accountability is one-sided. When you make a mistake, it's remembered, repeated, and used against you. When he hurts you, it's minimized, justified, or forgotten. This imbalance teaches you that your pain matters less. Slowly, your standards lower, not because you want less, but because asking for more feels pointless. Another everyday sign is the constant feeling of walking on eggshells. You sense tension even during calm moments. Silence feels loaded. You become hyper-aware of mood shifts, tone changes, and small behaviors. This chronic stress impacts your confidence and emotional well-being, even if you can't immediately explain why. Toxic relationships also distort your sense of responsibility. You begin to feel responsible for his emotions, reactions, and happiness. If he's upset, you assume you did something wrong. If he's distant, you try harder. Love becomes a performance instead of a partnership. It's important to understand that toxicity is not defined by how much you love someone, how long you've been together, or how many good memories you share. It's defined by patterns. Patterns that leave you feeling unseen, unheard, and emotionally unsafe are not accidents. They are signals. You deserve a relationship where you can be yourself without fear, where your emotions are met with care, and where love does not come with conditions. Recognizing toxicity is not about blaming. It's about choosing clarity over confusion. The hardest part about toxic relationships is that they don't always feel terrible all the time. There are moments of connection, laughter, and hope. That's what makes them difficult to leave. That consistency matters more than intensity. Love is not proven through rare highs, but through everyday emotional safety. Ask yourself this honestly. Do you feel more like yourself or less since this relationship began? Do you feel supported or managed? Do you feel free to express or careful to exist? These questions reveal more truth than any apology or promise ever could. Healing begins with naming what you're experiencing. When you stop normalizing emotional discomfort, you start reclaiming your self-respect. You are not asking for too much. You are simply asking the wrong person. If this video helped you see your situation more clearly, stay connected. On Pureher, we talk about emotional awareness, self-worth, and healthy relationship dynamics without judgment or pressure. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with a woman who might need this reminder today. You deserve a love that feels calm, safe, and real.